Welcome back to Figure It Out. NECA has recently completed their release of their Universal Monsters black and white version with Frankenstein, the Mummy, and the Wolfman. So let's check it out. Well, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know that when I do an unboxing, I really like to do the unboxing in, I guess, the groups in which they were released. And so back in the spring, NECA began to release these Universal Monster Ultimate figures, and it was interesting how they released them. They released the Frankenstein in the color version and the black and white. They released the Wolfman in the color and black and white, and they released the Mummy, but only in the color version. So I have waited until they have finally released, which is now late in the summer, they released the Mummy in the black and white version because I wanted all these in black and white. Why? Because the films themselves were all in black and white. We have Frankenstein, that movie was released in 1931, the Mummy in 1932, and the Wolfman in 1939, all of them in black and white. So what's fun for me is to watch the films, which I've watched all three of these, and then see how NECA has tried to bring in some of the components of the movies into their figures and some of the accessories that come with them. So let's take a look at these figures, talk a little bit about the movies and some of the details that NECA has put in them, and then maybe how we can put some of these in some dioramas. All right, I'm going to tackle each of these one at a time. We'll start with Frankenstein. Taking a look at just the box of Frankenstein here, we can see that there is a poster, but then on the back, we simply have some pose art. If we open the box, again, we have, here is another pose of the action figure itself, and then of course in the mirror, the clear window, we have the figure. So let's pull Frankenstein out and see what we got. All right, well, now that we have Frankenstein's monster out of the box, we can just take a look at some of the details. The real brilliance of this figure is the sculpt on the face. Now, this is the actor Boris Karloff, and they've done a great job on Frankenstein's monster's face here. The face sculpt looks really good. This is his face in most of the movie. He's just, as this monster, he is not very expressive. The clothing is fairly nondescript, but it is well textured, it is well sculpted, it is well painted for highlights. I really like what they did with the hands, the sculpting of the hands with all of the veins and the knuckles to bones. I mean, they have done a great job with that. So the figure itself comes with some accessories. It does come with these shackles, if you will. It comes with these shackles. It also comes with two other sets of hands. The hands that he has with him, that he comes with, are sort of these open, straight-fingered hands, which he does this a lot in the movie, this kind of, you know, straight-out configuration. He also, when he sees the sun, will kind of raise his arms and look up, which you could do when he sees the sun kind of breaking through. So you have that as an option. So that's these hands, but it also, he comes with a couple other hands. He has some hands that would possibly be, if he's interacting with another, be ones that would choke or reach out and grab. So we have these sort of reaching out and grabbing. So these are hands where he would be holding flowers. Because there's, of course, let me go ahead and put these up here. There is the scene where he is playing with the little village girl, and the village girl gives him these daisies, and they're throwing them in the water, and when he runs out of daisies to throw in the water, then what does he do? Of course, he picks up the little girl, throws her in the water, and she drowns. So he also comes with two other face sculpts. This is a Happy Frankenstein's monster, and this is when he is playing with the little girl, and he sees her and is having fun and kind of smiles at her. Kind of a simpleton sort of moment where he is playing with the girl, but that's that face sculpt. And then we have this one is when he sees the protagonist, Dr. Frankenstein, his fiance, and then now his wife, because on the wedding day he breaks in to her room and he sees her and he makes the goofiest face, I swear. And so this is the face. They chose that as the, I guess, second head sculpt, or the third head sculpt rather. They are in the movie. They're really true to the movie. And so as you compare these with some of the images from the movie itself, you'll see there's a great image of Frankenstein's monster coming out of the doorway, and the doorway is this very heavy wood, and it's kind of his first reveal on screen, and he has this same kind of look. But I think that would actually be a real brilliant diorama for this, so maybe we go there. All right, well, after Frankenstein, we have the movie The Mummy. You can see on the box we have another movie poster here. On the back we again have some more pose art of the figure itself, pose art on the back, on the sides, but they do a really great job, NECA does, of taking the pictures. And then on the inside, again, more pose art. But anyway, and then of course we have the figure here in the window, but we'll pull this out and see what we got. All right, pulling the Mummy out of the box, this is what we've got. Again, this movie was from 1932. It stars Boris Karloff as the Mummy. He really spends very little time as the Mummy in this configuration, so we really barely see him. In fact, we never get a full view, and so NECA's kind of guessing, I guess, from some movie production stills as to what the rest of this looks like. We really only see him like this much. We see his arms, his face, and that's about it. And then after that, he is in sort of his non-mummy, you know, dressed in regular Egyptian civilian garb, and that's about it. So after about 10 minutes, that's all we see. One of the things they did was they gave his arms these double joints that they do on a lot of their figures, because in the beginning of the movie we see the mummy itself in its sarcophagus, and his arms are folded in front of him like so. And so you can position him just like you see him in the movie, with his arms folded, which I think that's a good little add, and something that you know, we might not recognize right off the bat. And so this first original face sculpt is Boris Karloff with his eyes closed, and so this would be what he would look like when he's lying, kind of leaning up against the wall in repose in the sarcophagus. There are two other head sculpts though that it comes with. We do see this face sculpt in the sarcophagus because his eyes pop open right before he starts walking out of the room. And then there's also this face sculpt here with his mouth kind of open. So they give us those two different head sculpts. There's also 3 additional hands that it comes with, and so these hands are kind of fingers together a little bit, and kind of a little bit more relaxed pose. The other hands that they give us 1 additional left hand with fingers open, and then 2 additional right hands. And the thing that I have about these right hands, these particular hands, they do have the ring that's associated with it. And so he does have a ring of power in the movie. It's a scarab ring. It also comes with 2 additional kind of pliable wrappings. So when you have him in the sarcophagus and his arms are crossed, there are some loose bandages that you'll see there, and I'm going to put him in there here in a second to show you what that looks like. So in that opening scene, he does have these loose bandages, and so I've draped them around where it seems like they are molded to go. So there's one that goes around his neck and one that goes around his forearm. It comes with 1 additional piece, and that is this little sarcophagus here. So the mummy was buried with this particular sarcophagus because in it is contained kind of our only thing that's semi-color, which it's a tan. A little disappointed in this that I waited for the black and white version, but they didn't do a black and white version of this. Instead they kept it on this same kind of tan colored, what we would call papyrus. But this is supposed to be the scroll of Thoth, which is the scroll that when read would resurrect the dead. It's a well sculpted figure. It looks very much like that first 10 minutes you see him in the sarcophagus. I think a pretty brilliant black and white scene for him would be to have him in the sarcophagus. So I know NECA is going to be releasing that sarcophagus as an accessory that you can purchase, and so we may see about grabbing that or making our own. We'll see. So that's the Mummy. All right, and the last Universal Ultimate Monster figure that we have is the Wolfman. And of the 3 films, I would say that I enjoyed this one the most. On the front, we do have another movie poster. On the side, we do have some more pose art of the figure itself. I think they did a really good collage here on the back. It's a very interesting pose work that they've done on that. And then again, another pose on the side. On the inside, we have a very cool picture of the toy in a pose, and then of course we have in the window we have all the accessories. So let's pull this out and see what it looks like. So just like they do in the movie, let's just start off with the human, see what we got. So they do give you the Lon Chaney Jr. face sculpt, which he's kind of, you know, because you have this one in sort of, you could have him in a post-transformation scene, they give you kind of a little bit of concern on his face, as in what is happening to me. He's got one hand, so he comes with 2 right hands, and so this particular right hand is the one that can hold the cane that is an accessory, and then you have another right hand which is an open hand, just like this one, with the oh my, what's happening to me kind of expression on his face, which you could do as well. I did think that the face sculpt on this, when you compare it to the movie, is really great. I mean, they did a great job capturing Lon Chaney Jr. in this particular face sculpt. I thought I might do some of this on camera just so you know how easy it is to do. So when you're trading these little pieces out, the hands just have this kind of little plunge fit here. It does have a joint, so it can get squirrely on you, but you know, a little wiggle, and I mean, it just goes in so easy, but holds really well. Pull the other hand out, put this claw in. That goes really well. The feet come off very easily, so a little twist, and it's just a kind of a little stump there, so that will go in very easily, but holds really, really well. And then the head just pops off just like that. Has this little ball joint. And let's get the growly face. So it does come with 2 different head sculpts. One, it's more of the serious Wolfman here, and then you have more of the angry growling Wolfman that you more see at the end of the movie. And so let's put this guy on. That seems more fun. But an easy press there, and you have it. So I actually did see another opening. Somebody was doing the color version of this, and they were complaining that these feet are rounded on the bottom, and they are 100%. So these soles of the feet, which you can see right here, they are not flat. And his complaint, this particular YouTuber, was like, makes him really hard to stand up. But this is actually really brilliant, because in the movie, when he's in his Wolfman form, he is walking on his tiptoes to mimic a canine leg. So if you see a dog's leg, you can see that there is a bend in a dog's leg, and just like that, the Wolfman, the actor, is walking on his toes. It does make it virtually impossible to pose this guy without having a stand. And so, you know, getting a stand and putting him on a stand, it's not that big a deal, but I'm gonna go ahead and put him on one just to have him in that kind of pose there, so we can have him. So easy peasy, not a problem. Everybody stop panicking because he's got these rounded feet. It's intentional, because that's how the actor would run around as the Wolfman. So I think it's brilliant and a great job by NECA to do that. It does come with this cane, which this particular cane is a big player in the movie, because this is what Lon Chaney Jr. does at the beginning of the movie to kill the wolf that he is that is attacking him, because this is a silver-headed or silver-tipped cane, and so this is a wolf head. And then I don't even know if we can get close enough. Let's see if we can get close enough. So, oh yeah, that's good. Wolf head, and then there's a pentagram on the rounded part with a little wolf in there too. And they have done a great job sculpting this. Also, in the movie, the villagers do set out some traps for the Wolfman, and so they've included one of these kind of wolf traps, or bear traps if you will. And this thing is so well put together, it's very surprising. Now obviously it's not going to actually spring and whatever, but it does have moving parts to it. And so the little foot pedal trap that causes the trap to close can move up and down. It does have this, let's see if we can focus it on this. It does have this little bitty piece that can fold down and actually pin into the foot pedal, this little piece. Now I'd be super careful with it because it's not held on by much, just a tiny little hinge there. But this does hinge out of the way, can hinge up like this. And then of course you can clamp the teeth together. So you have all kinds of posability with this guy. I think this is super cool. And they've done a great paint job on it. So they do have that kind of silver wash over a dark paint to give it that kind of metallic look. This was my favorite movie out of the three. It's really my favorite figure out of the three. I think putting this guy in kind of the moors, the woods, where he's running around and attacking people in the movie, it would be easy to do. I think he poses really well. Of course, you have to have a stand, but in doing that, it's not a problem. And I just think the sculpting of all the pieces that come with it are just excellent. Well, thank you so much for watching this unboxing of NECA's Universal Monsters Ultimate Figures. This first release of these black and whites is absolutely fantastic to watch the movies and compare them with these figures and just see what we're up against. All the details that they put in them, really excellent. And so if you've liked the video, don't forget to subscribe, and of course if you can like it, it'd be great. Add some comments, let me know what you think. I do know that NECA is planning on releasing some additional figures from Universal Monsters, ones like Dracula and Invisible Man, maybe Creature from the Black Lagoon. We will see, and if those come out, we're going to unbox those too. So thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time on Figure It Out.